Hi everyone, I'm Lucy. Welcome back to my channel. And today we'll be having the concluding part of 50 most likely JAMB UTME use of English questions. We have already done 20, and today we'll be looking at finishing up all of the questions that we'll be learning in preparation for your examination come April 2026. The very first question today is a question under synonyms. And synonyms are words that are similar in meaning to other words. A JAMB type question, and this is it. The king was known for his benevolence. And benevolence is the highlighted word. So we have the options. Okay, we have A, wickedness, B, kindness, C is anger, and D, strength. Mind you, some American pronunciations pronounce this word as strength, just in case you hear that. Okay, so we're looking out for the synonym of this particular highlighted word. The king was known for his benevolence. So we have the options: wickedness, kindness, anger, and strength. Now, a very easy way to answer this question, in case you see a question like this in UTME, is for you to use the elimination method. If you have been joining my classes, I have always been teaching about the elimination method. It's a very simple and easy method that you can apply to, get at the correct answer. So don't worry, I'll show you practically how you can apply the elimination method to this question. So here we can see we have wickedness. And here, wickedness has a negative charge. What do I mean by negative charge? I mean that wickedness here is a word that is seen negatively and not positively. So it has a negative charge. Kindness here has a positive charge. Okay. Kindness is actually a simple word that, most UTME candidates will know. So you can easily tell that kindness has a positive charge. Anger here also has a negative charge. Now, what some people will do by way of elimination method is once they have answers that have similar charges, they can easily delete them. So we can just go ahead to delete anger and wickedness, but I will not be too fast to do that, okay? I would love to take everything so that you can understand exactly how we arrived at an answer. Now we look at the word strength. Strength can be viewed as positive or neutral. It can be positive or neutral. When you say strength, it's not telling us the level of one's strength. It might be on the lower level or maybe on the higher level. So what you need to understand about antonyms, about synonyms rather, is the word that is highlighted has to have the same part of speech as the word which replaces it in that context, as well as have the same charge as the word. So we see the king was known for his benevolence. Benevolence means generosity. This is positive. Okay, it has a positive charge. So easily we can eliminate wickedness and anger, leaving us with kindness and strength. So kindness actually, has a positive charge. Strength, like I earlier pointed out, can also have a neutral charge. So we'll be eliminating strength, because strength here, if you've been in my class, I usually talk about answers that are not necessarily related to, the highlighted word. Strength is one of them in this particular context, because it's not telling us, the level of strength, okay, that the space, just strength. So here it would serve more as a neutral charge. It's neutral until you tell us if it's, high level of strength, medium, or maybe even, a lower level of strength. So easily we can use the elimination method to get the right answer, which is kindness. So let's see if kindness passes, the test. First, benevolence is an adjective. Remember what I said? Both words need to be of the same word class or part of speech. Benevolence is an adjective. Kindness is also benevolence is a noun. Pardon. I beg your pardon there. Benevolence is a noun, and kindness too is a noun because they name attributes. They name attributes. That's one. The next one is the charge. Benevolence has a positive charge. Kindness also has a positive charge. So the correct answer here is kindness, option B. So that is the answer for that question, and that is how we arrived at the answer. Remember, we don't do guesswork in Lucy's class. We check for the science behind the English, and then we get the correct answers. Okay, let's take another synonym question. Let's take another synonym question. This question says, the woman is very diligent. The woman is very diligent. And the underlined word here is diligence. Diligent. We have the options: A, lazy; B, hardworking, C, proud, and then D, careless. Again, we'll be looking for the synonym in this particular question. Okay, and we'll be using the elimination method once again. So this is a simple sentence, quite straightforward, describing who this woman is to us. So the woman is very diligent. Diligence is underlined. It's quite a simple one, but let's just assume we don't know what's the correct answer here is and how we can arrive at the answer. So first we look at the parts of speech in this word. Diligence here is an adjective. How do we know that? It describes the noun woman. Okay, so an adjective is a word that describes a noun or pronoun, or tells us more about a noun or pronoun. Okay, so let's look at lazy. Lazy is also an adjective. Hardworking, adjective. Okay, proud tells us about a person and the attributes and all of that. So that's an adjective. Careless, the same thing. So is it getting a bit tricky? You don't worry, we'll unravel the answer in a jiffy. And this will be very simple to unravel. So now that we have looked at the word class or the part of speech that each of these options belong to, we'll be looking at the charges. Are they positive charge or negative charge? So lazy, this is quite simple. This is negative. It has a negative charge. Hardworking has positive charge. Okay, proud, negative charge. Well, some people might want to argue if they say that I am proud of my country, Nigeria, that's a positive thing, okay? But in this context, proud has a negative charge. And then careless also has a negative charge. Now, how about the highlighted word diligent? What charge does it have? It has a positive charge. Look at why I said this is quite very simple to answer. The correct answer or the correct synonym to diligent is actually hardworking. Easy peasy, and we get our answers. Remember, no guesswork. And just in case you haven't subscribed to my channel, what are you waiting for? This is where you get all the tips. The quality, excellent tips for English, especially UTME English. Hit the subscribe button so you can always receive notifications for when I go live and when a video drops on my channel. Okay, so let's look at the next question. We have quite a long way to go. Yes, quite a long way to go. Okay, let's look at this one. He is a notorious criminal. Notorious is highlighted. And the options are famous. Next, well known for bad deeds. Next, unknown. D, we have honest. Okay, so notorious is an adjective. Famous is an adjective too. Well known for bad deeds. I could say it's a definition. It's also an adjective. Why? Because it is describing a thing or a person. This is a description. If you say, who's John, for example, maybe who's Peter, okay? Peter is well known for bad deeds. So even though you have this group of words there, this is actually an adjective, okay? Just wanted to break that down so you can understand that it's descriptive in nature. Next, we have unknown is also an adjective. Honest, an adjective too. Wonderful. So now that we have looked at the parts of speech of all of those words that we have here, let's look at the synonym. Remember, the synonym is a word that is similar in meaning to the underlined word. So the underlined word here is notorious. Now, notorious has a negative charge. It has a negative charge. Famous is positive. B, well known for bad deeds. Actually, this well known here actually means famous. If you want it as one word, if you want to summarize this as one word, okay? So famous for bad deeds. Obviously, that's negative. I think it tells on itself, yeah? Okay, unknown. Unknown. Unknown is like neutral. When you say someone is unknown, have they done bad or good? It's like it has a neutral charge. And then honest is positive. Guys, look at this. Look at this. I want to use elimination method to get my answer. Isn't this so simple? So notorious has a negative charge, and the only option that has a negative charge like it is B. And that's the correct answer. So notoriety means being well known for evil or for bad deeds. I mean, look at that. So we're able to use the elimination method to eliminate answer choices that do not appropriately relate to the highlighted question, guys. I hope that's quite simple for you to answer, and I hope you're able to also, break down words this way and apply all of this, the parts of speech, the word charges, to be able to correctly decipher the synonym of particular words. Let's take a look at another question. Okay. Okay, let's look at this question. So the next question is, the task was arduous. And the options are A, easy, B, difficult, C, interesting, and then D, simple. D, simple, the task. What kind of noun is this? The task. This will give us some information about the word arduous, okay? But first, let's take a look at the options. We have easy. Easy is an adjective. Difficult is another adjective. Interesting, another adjective. Simple, another adjective. So they are all adjective. Now, just in case you do not know the word arduous, but it will be quite simple for you to identify its parts of speech. Reason being because of what the word arduous is doing in this particular sentence. Remember, I have taught you in one of my previous videos that you can decipher the meaning of words not necessarily from what you were taught from primary school. You can decipher the meaning of words based on their function in context, which can be a sentence, a phrase, a clause, or any other grammatical structure. Okay? So here we have the task. Now, remember I said earlier when we started that task will give us an idea, it will give us a clue about others. Let's see if it will do that. So we have the task. What part of speech is task? The task. Imagine I said the man or the girl. Just imagine. So the task here is a noun. It is actually a noun phrase, okay? So we'll just take it as a noun, all right, because it names the task here. So this is a noun. And then we're told the task was arduous. What part of speech tells us more or describes a noun? Obviously, it is an adjective. It is obviously an adjective. So even if you do not yet know the meaning of the word arduous, by looking at it in context, looking at its function in context, you can tell what part of speech and likely what the word is doing in that context. So now we've been able to decipher that arduous is an adjective. That's on the one hand. So we see that arduous tells us more about the noun task or describes the noun to us. That's on one level. But the major thing about this question is we are looking out for the synonym. I just want you to have a basic understanding. Remember, I teach you the science behind the English, guys. Okay, guys. So we have arduous as an adjective. Next, we'll look at easy. Easy has a positive charge. Of course, when I say English is easy, many of you, you're happy and you're optimistic about your performance in UTME in April. That connotes positivity. Difficulty is negative. Okay. Interesting is positive. When you say a story or a class is interesting, yeah? Simple is also positive. Is this simple or is this simple? I think it's simple, really. So negative. And perhaps for me, I know that arduous is negative. Okay, so I'm wearing your shoes as a student. Okay, if in case you do not know the meaning of arduous, you can use this to get your answer. It is acceptable. So you're looking at it and you're saying 3 positives. 1, 2, 3. This is the answer. But for someone like me that already knows that arduous means difficult, I just go here. But I'm just saying that if you do not know, you can use the elimination method in this format, looking at the part of speech and the word charge to easily get your answer. Okay. Let's look for another question to answer. Okay. Let's look at this one. It might be simple for some, maybe not so for some other students. The manager was quite furious. A option, angry. B, calm. C, happy. And D, excited. So because I'm pretty sure that you've been following and you've been seeing the way that I, have been explaining the answers, I will not dwell much on this. I will answer this like you, like a candidate in the real examination. So this is what I'll do. I'll see here already that furious is an adjective. How do I know? It describes the manager. Okay. Angry, the same thing. It tells us, the state of emotion. Same for calm. Same for happy. Same for excited. Remember, I am, checking my time. Remember, for use of English in JAMB, it's 60 questions for 40 minutes. I don't have all of that time to waste. And then I look at this real quick. I can see that this is positive. Calm is positive. Happy, positive. Excited, positive. The only negative thing here is angry. And my answer is angry. I've gotten the answer. Very simple and straight to the point. Okay? Okay. 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 Now, let's look at some antonym questions. We've looked at 5 synonym questions. Let's take a look at some antonym questions. Antonym questions. Okay. Antonym questions. Okay, antonyms mean the opposite words that have opposite meanings. And yes, let me reiterate that in JAMB, you usually find about 10 synonym questions and 10 antonym questions. So yes, they actually carry, a bulk mark in the overall of the marks for use of English. So the question we're looking at here is, she is optimistic about the future. Optimistic is on the line. Hopeful. Positive. Pessimistic. Happy. Okay, so she is optimistic about the future, and we'll be looking for the opposite in meaning of the word optimistic. So we have those options. We have hopeful, positive, pessimistic, and happy. Okay, so we'll be picking out which of them is the antonym of the word optimistic. Now, before we delve into the topic on antonyms, there is something I don't like to jump the wagon. Okay, so I like to take things orderly. Yes. Okay, so it's better for me to let you know what will actually give you success in use of English, JAMB use or UTME use of English. Now, the first prerequisite is you build vocabulary, what I prefer to call pre-examination tips. So it is not just dependent on you using what I have taught you, the part of speech or the word class. and the word charge, such as when we did adjectives. These words are adjectives. Are they negative? Do they have a negative connotation or a positive? That's for during the examination. But before the examination, what I tell students to do is to build vocabulary. The challenge most students have with English is that they do not know the meaning of the words. Is that they do not understand most or some of the words that pop up in UTME. That's the challenge. So when students come to the hall, and they see words that they don't know, some of them, you might be surprised, they do guesswork. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo. That's won't get you anywhere. So the very first basic is that you build a solid foundation by building your vocabulary. How do you build vocabulary? There are many ways. You can read good books, okay? Good magazines. Listen to the news. Listen to the news. You hear new words, you hear how they're pronounced, and then it will help you find their meanings, from a dictionary. So you're building your repertoire of words. This is very important. Another thing that I do personally, and I also recommend to you as students, is that you can watch good movies. Why I like this particular one is because you're killing two birds with a stone. You're not under pressure. Because most times as students, when you're under pressure, you might fall asleep, you're not learning, okay? When you watch good movies that, where people speak good English, you're relaxed. So there's an entertainment value. Now, aside from the entertainment value, you're learning. There's also educational value. Top of the movies that I'll recommend for you are My Fair Lady, Breakfast at Tiffany's, and all Shakespeare movies, okay? They take care to speak the right English. So as you're watching, you can just pause, listen, repeat after them, and then play the movie and go on and have a swell time. So when you listen to movies that, where good English is spoken, like Lord of the Rings is also a good one. When you listen to that, it helps you. You're seeing it. You're repeating after them. And, in a more relaxed fashion, you'll learn better with that, okay? So I hope you enjoyed my tips on how you can build vocabulary so that you can know, at least some of the words that will pop up in English. If you got any of those tips, click on the subscribe button, share this link to everyone around you, everyone who'd be taking UTME in April 2026 and even beyond. Let them also subscribe so they can benefit what you're benefiting. Okay, back to the question on the board. We'll be answering this real quick. We're looking for the antonym for the word optimistic. Okay, optimistic is an adjective and it has a positive charge. Positive charge. So hopeful, I am hopeful. It describes who a person is and it also has a positive charge. It's positive. Oh, positive is even here. Positive is positive, right? Okay, pessimistic has a negative charge. Negative charge means negative meaning, and this has a positive meaning. Now, do not lose wind. What we're looking for here is the antonym, not the synonym. Please, this is very important. It's also one of the things that I tell my students. It is imperative that you read the instructions and take notes of the keywords. Many a times, many students have missed out on the correct answers, not because they do not know it, but because they mixed up or they misread the instruction. So when it tells you antonyms, you look for words that are opposite in meaning. When it tells you synonyms, you look for words that are similar in meaning. So we're looking out for the antonym, the opposite. So since the highlighted word has a positive charge, its antonym must have a negative charge. The correct answer here is pessimistic. Optimistic to pessimistic. That is the correct answer for that question. Let's look for more questions. Let's look for more questions to answer. Okay, this might look simple, but not necessarily. The road is smooth. Okay, so we have the road is smooth. I'd like to draw attention to this word smooth, okay? Most people pronounce this word as smooth. It's wrong. Now, mind you, the sound that we have on the TH is the voiced dental frictive sound. This sound, not the voiceless dental frictive, the one some people call teeter. Not this one. This is the one we have. So this word is correctly pronounced smooth. Please, as from today, if you've been saying smooth or smooth and all of those things, no, guys, you have to voice the ending smooth. It is smooth. It is smooth, okay? Very important for you to know. Okay, let's look at the answer to this question. So we have the options: rough, straight, clean, wide. Okay, so the opposite of smooth is rough. Really easy to get is rough. It's not wide. Opposite of this would be narrow, clean would be dirty, and straight would be crooked. So no, we can easily eliminate B to D because the correct answer there is rough. Okay, let's take another question. Okay, question 8. The teacher is strict. A hard, be lenient, C, angry, and D, serious. Okay, so let's look at this question. The teacher is strict. Okay, these are all adjectives. Okay, we can see that, in a jiffy. These are all, quite easily, these are all adjectives. So we have the teacher is hard. Hard here is negative. I want to assume the student doesn't know what lenient means. So how would the student that doesn't know what lenient means arrive at the answer? I'll show you. The student knows what angry means. This is, quite a simple word. This is a negative charge. And then we have serious. When you say something is, it's serious. It was quite serious. It was a serious incident. So that's negative. Okay, strict actually is negative. So the student doesn't know what lenient means. But now the students can see that strict, the word highlighted, has a negative charge or connotation. Hard, negative, angry, negative, serious, negative. Actually, positive has a negative charge, but I'm just assuming that lenient has a positive charge, rather, I meant to say. So I'm assuming that the student does not know the meaning of lenient. So what would that student do? Skip the question? No, you will not skip the question. But what you do is to see that strict, the highlighted word, has a negative charge. Hard, angry, and serious all have negative charges, okay? Lenient then becomes the answer. That is the odd one out. So what method have we used? Again, we have used elimination. The elimination method to simply arrive at the answer. I'm sure you can see how simple English is once you know what to do, once you know the method to apply to arrive at your answer. Let's take a look at another question real quick as we progress today. Okay. Okay, so the question reads, the man is usually active in sporting competitions. And we have the options. A, lazy, B, strong, C, fast, D, busy. Okay, so how do we find our answers? We can use the elimination method, such as I've been teaching you. Let's see if we can use context clue. Let's see if we can apply context clue to get the correct antonym here. Okay, so it says the man is usually active in sporting competitions. So active here shows someone who's not lazy. How do I know? It says active in sporting competition. Now listen, sporting competitions here can actually give you a clue or an idea on what active is doing in this particular context. Now, well, an example of a sporting competition is, let's say, a football competition. Of course, you know, there's a lot of activity. You know, you kick the ball, you dribble, you do all of that. It might even be gymnastics, okay? So the gymnast throws their legs up this way, throws their hands, wriggles through, through a hole and all of that. So it's active. So sporting competitions here is giving us a clue as to the context in which active is functioning in this particular context. So we're looking for its antonym. We can see that it's not lazy. It's not lazy, because if you're to do a sporting competition, you can't be lazy. You have to be active. Trust me on that. Okay, so let's look at the other ones. We have strong. Yeah, if I'm to be involved in a sporting competition, do I need to be strong? Pretty much, I feel I need to be strong, right? Okay, we're looking at each of the words, okay? Next, we have fast. Do we need to be fast? Yes, we need to be fast. But is fast related to the word active? We'll find that out. Next, we have busy. 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 So fast here talks about, speed. I think I should just note this. This denotes speed. So let's look at this sentence or this question critically. The man is usually active in sporting competitions. Active here, like we said, lazy. Lazy does not, is the opposite of, that's actually the answer. That's really quite clear for us to see. Active, its opposite would be lazy. Okay, so let's rewind. Let's go back, guys. So here we have fast. This is positive. Okay, since we have already, understood here that active is positive. Why? Because, it has to do with show of strength. That's where we have strong. Okay, so it has to do with show of strength. All right. It also has to do with being busy, like being up and doing. That's actually busy. So these are its synonyms. Synonyms. This could also serve as a synonym. Okay. Even fast, because we're able to find out that if you're to do sporting competitions, you need speed. Fine. So the synonyms for active will be strong, fast, and busy. Why lazy would be its antonym. Remember, we are still looking out for antonyms in this particular set of questions. So the correct answer here would be lazy. Why is it lazy? It is because, as we can see, strong, fast, busy are actually synonymous to active. Not just that, they are also positive. They bear the positive charge, while lazy bears the negative charge. Lazy bears negative charge and is the opposite of the word active. So yes, you can use a context clue, spotting competitions, that's the first thing. And then next I used elimination method to get my answer. So that's two methods in one. You can use that sometimes to derive the correct answer. Let's look for another synonym question as we progress. Okay, let's look at this question. Tennis says, the girl is cheerful because she won the prize. Okay, the girl is cheerful because she won the prize, and cheerful is the underlined word. So let's take a look at some of the examples, some of the options that we have. We have happy. Next, sad. Kind. And D, friendly. Okay, so in this context, we can also apply two methods to get the correct answer. Okay, we can apply synonyms in context. That is, how the synonym or the word has been used in context can help us to understand and find the correct answer from these options here. We can also use the elimination method. So first, the girl is cheerful because she won the prize. Now, I am assuming that, okay, I do not know the meaning of cheerful, or maybe that student doesn't know the meaning of cheerful. But this will tell me, this will give me a clue. Why? It says, the girl is cheerful because, okay, reason, okay, she won the prize. That's a happy thing. That's a joyful thing. It's positive. So this tells me that the girl is happy. Okay, and this tells me that the girl, that this, it has a positive charge, or a positive connotation. I also know that cheerful is an adjective. Remember what I taught you earlier? Okay, let me just put adjective at the top. What I taught you earlier is adjective is describing the girl. We already know that girl is a noun. So cheerful here is an adjective that describes the noun girl. That is settled. Now let's go to the options. Okay, so happy, sad, kind they are adjectives. Friendly here is an adverb. Very friendly. Okay, so we have happy. Now happy has a positive connotation. Okay, sad has negative connotation. When you say someone is sad, that's negative. Negative. Next we have kind. Kind is positive. And then friendly. Friendly is neutral. Friendly can also serve as an adjective because it describes a noun. If you say, Miss Lucy is friendly, okay, you're talking about me. Okay, so that's an adjective. Okay, so friendly here is positive. And we're able to get the answer. The answer is the negative one. That's sad. So The girl is cheerful. Cheerful connotes positivity. How do we know? I'm assuming we don't know the meaning of cheerful, okay? How do we know that? This context tells us she won the prize. So that situates and lets us know that this girl is happy. It's positive. We've settled that. And then we come over to the options. You know, we go through the options. Happy, kind, friendly are all positive terms. There is only one negative term here, which is sad. And remember that what we're looking out for here is the antonym, not the synonym. Yes, sometimes we have that confusion, but hey, we just have to ensure that we overcome that. So the correct answer here, as we can see, based on, you know, the method that we have used, context clues and the elimination method, is sad, which is the only negative word in the 4 options that we have there. Okay. Okay. Now, let's take some questions that still have to do with lexis and structure. However, they are appropriate. Okay, JAMB calls them fill in the gap questions. In English grammar, we can call them appropriate prepositions, okay? Appropriate prepositions. Let's take a look at a few of them and their correct answers. Okay. It says, he is tired, dash, working all day. A, of, B, from. These are the 2 options that we have, okay? He is tired, dash, working all day. I'll give you just 5 seconds to type out the answer. You can just type it in the comments, okay? So that you're also actively engaged in the work that we're doing here. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Good. I'm sure you've typed your answer out. So let's look at if your answer is correct. He is tired, dash, working all day. He is tired of working all day, not from. This is how it's, it collocates in English. Collocation then means agrees, okay? Tired of. I am tired of something. Now look at this. Let me give you a very quick example. A child whose parent has been feeding rice. Okay, maybe jollof rice in the morning, fried rice in the evening, jambalaya rice, coconut rice. And then what does the child say? I am tired of eating rice all day. Does the child say, I am tired from? There you have your answer. So the correct answer is of. He is tired of working all day. I also like to quickly let you see something else. This is English we're learning. We have of and of. Now, most times, most people pronounce both of these words the same way. That is wrong. So this is the phonetic transcription for this particular one. You have a schwa, and then you have the voiced sound, okay? And then for this particular sound, you have the schwa again, and then you have the voiceless sound. Now, let's pronounce together. O-F, the 2-letter word is pronounced of, okay? He is tired of. If you're not saying of, voice, you're not pronouncing it correctly. You're not speaking the right English. Okay, so let's take it one more time. He is tired of, not of. He is tired of working all day, because this is the correct transcription. Then for this one, when you say get off a bus, I'm pretty sure you know that. Get off the bus. Okay, this is the one that should be pronounced of. I got off the bus. That's correct English. I got off the bus. So the OFF, off, the OF, the one we predominantly use and is pronounced off, is actually of. Now, so listen. He is tired of working all day. I hope you've learned something today. Okay, let's move on from here to the next question. To the next question. Okay. The teacher prevented him dash cheating. So let's see. The options, we have just two. Of course, you might want to type out the answer in the comments. So we'll take a quick look at this. The teacher prevented him dash cheating. Okay, is it from or against? Okay, now you know you've been exposed to using our context clues to find synonyms and antonyms answers, as well as the elimination method. You can also use the elimination method here, but let's try something else. Okay, let's try to insert each of these options inside the sentence, read together, and see what makes sense in English. Let's try the first one. The teacher prevented him, I insert, from cheating. Does that make sense? Next, the teacher prevented him against cheating. So which one is the right answer? The correct answer here is actually from cheating. So you again, this is how we use English, okay? Now, one other thing that I need to, talk to students about is apprehension. You don't have to be apprehensive. When you're apprehensive, common simple English that you speak become a bit difficult for you in the examination hall. For instance, this is what we speak. Maybe when you're having a conversation with your friend, you tell the person, prevent you from getting sick. It's a normal conversation, okay? Washing your hands regularly prevents, you from sicknesses, right? It's something you discuss with your friend. So that's why I opted for the option of inserting each of these options inside the sentence to see what makes sense. Let's read together. The teacher prevented him from cheating. So you prevent from, not prevent, you prevent from. Prevented him from cheating. Prevented him from cheating. Okay, we have more questions coming right up. Okay, let's look at this question. This is a Concord question. I have taught something similar to this before, so I'd love to see your answers in the comments. Okay, so we have so what is the answer? It says, each of the girls dash a prize. Is it have or has? Which of them is the correct answer here? I have taught something, similar to this, where we talked about each of the Concord rules. So type out your answers in the comments section. Okay, so without further ado, you need to understand that when you see sentences or grammatical constructions that begin with each of the, okay, it signifies singular. Under the grammatical Concord rule, this signifies singular. So here, because it signifies that it's a singular subject, what do? We have to ensure that it agrees or collocates with a singular verb. So between have and has, we'll look out for which of them is the singular verb. So the singular verb here is Has. And this is the correct answer. How do we know? We simply look at the rule of grammar that says singular subjects take singular verbs, okay? And then plural subjects take plural verbs. So each of the girls has a prize. Each of the girls has a prize. That is the correct answer. Okay, let's take a look at this one, appropriate prepositions once again. Appropriate prepositions. I don't know, 15 that I did. That was 15, right? She is interested dash learning French. A, we have in, and B, we have on. She is interested dash learning French, okay? So here, is it on or in? So I'll just insert this and read the sentence together. I'll insert each of the options and read the sentence together. She is interested in learning French. She is interested on learning French. Okay, now let me begin from on. When you say something is on another thing, so it's on top of it, on top. So can I say she is interested on top learning French? On learning French, no. But when you say in, okay, literally, in means within a thing, inside a thing, okay? But in this case, it means related to. So she is interested in learning French. Anything, you know, related to learning French, knowing French and all of that, you know, she's interested in that, not on in this particular context. So the correct answer here is A, in learning French. I hope you understand that. And if you do, you know what to do. Share the link of this particular video to every JAMBite around you, every candidate, and indeed every student, you know, who will be taking English examination. Let's look at this question. The number of students dash increasing. Okay, I have taught this before. Maybe I should just teach it again. This is pronounced increase, not increase. Increase. The sound found here is the alveolar sound. Increase. Increase, not increase. Please take note of that. Okay, let's move on from there. The number of students dash increasing, we have A is, I have also taught this one, you know, so this is pronounced is. That's the phonetic transcription, not is. You don't say Peter is a boy, wrong. Is, please, this word, this is important because most Nigerians or most people pronounce this word as is. No, it is. Take note of that, very important, please. Okay, and then we have are. All right. So this is a Concord question and it has to do with the number of Concord type question. So wherever you see the number of, okay, it might be the number of cars, the number of anything. Now, your attention should be focused on the subject as the number, as against the student. So the number here is singular. Now, what does that mean? I want you to say to yourself where you are watching, what does this mean? When you have a singular subject, what kind of verb do you use? You use a singular verb, okay? So what is the singular verb in this context? It is is. Remember, is, not is. All right. The number of students is increasing. Don't forget, we are not laying our emphasis on this. We are laying emphasis on the number of. It's a type of concord, which is singular. So do not get confused because students says plural. Okay. Let's look at this example. This also pops up in JAMB. It just might pop up this year. Trust me. Remember, we are looking at most likely JAMB questions for UTME English. Okay, so let's look at this one. Bread and butter dash his favorite breakfast. Some of you might be thinking, what's the answer? Yeah? You want to type that out in the comments, please go ahead. Okay, so bread and butter dash his favorite breakfast. Okay, so yeah. The answer here is. And why is it so? Even though we have bread and butter, ordinarily one would say bread and butter is bread 1, butter 2, right? In this case, it doesn't work that way in English, okay? So bread and butter is considered one meal because you eat them together, okay? You have, a slice of bread or, a piece of bread and all of that, and then you butter it. That's the bread and butter. Pick it up, maybe fold it, and then yum, 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 you go. Okay, so bread and butter in English is considered one meal, like I just demonstrated to you. And because of this, it is seen as a singular subject. A singular subject, okay? It is seen as a singular subject, so it has to take a singular verb. That's why the answer is. I hope that's clear. Like I said, more often than not, this particular question often pops up as a JAMB question. So it's one that you have to take adequate notes of. Notice I said of. Okay, not off. All right. I hope you're paying attention. Okay, let's look at this example again. Or this question rather. We have the pair of shoes dash expensive. The pair of shoes dash expensive. A, R, and B we have is quick one. The pair of shoes, okay? So we'll focus our attention on the pair again, not the shoes now. The pair of shoes. So the Concord rule states here that when you're using the pair, it might be the pair of glasses or, something else, the pair of shoes, okay? So yeah, this pair here will be seen as a singular subject, a singular noun. So because of that, based off of the rule, the singular has to take the singular verb, and the answer here is. So let's read together. The pair of shoes is expensive. Is expensive, not is expensive. I hope you're getting that, guys. If you have learned anything from my class, you know what to do. Click on the subscribe button, share the link of this particular class to everyone you know should benefit from it. Let's look at another question real quick as we progress. Okay. Let's look at this question real quick. It says here, he was accused dash theft, okay? Theft means stealing or pilfering, to take what doesn't belong to one, okay? All right, so he was accused dash of theft. So is it of or for? He was accused of theft, he was accused for theft. Isn't it he was accused for theft? Isn't that the correct answer? No, it's not the correct answer, okay? The correct answer here is of. He was accused of. You accuse someone of doing something. Basic English, okay? Why is it that when we see those things in the examination, they look a bit cumbersome? They are the English you speak. When you say, he was accused of something, you say of, you don't say for. He was accused of doing this or doing that. Simple, basic English, guys, okay? And with you watching my video, there is no way you will miss this out, and definitely you will pass your examination. Let's look at more questions. Let's look at more. Let's look at this one. He complied dash the instructions. Okay. He complied dash the instructions. Is it with or to? Okay. Let's begin from B. He complied to the instructions. Okay. Let's see. He complied with the instructions. So to here shows, when you say to, it shows like position. I am going to. It also indicates a location. I am going to Abuja, or maybe I am going to the mosque. So it is a preposition of direction. Okay, so this shows direction. Is this sentence talking about direction? Okay, with here indicates harmony. Harmony, okay? When you say he went with me to the museum, he went with me to the museum. So with indicates alongside, okay? So it indicates harmony. Now, which of these, based on the explanation I've given, which of this works better in this context? The answer is with. Now, this is it. He complied with the instructions. This is directional, and this one indicates harmony with the instructions. So he harmonized, okay, with the instructions by doing what was expected, what he was instructed to do. Meanwhile, this tells that it's directional, giving us a direction towards or to wherever, okay? That's not what this particular sentence is talking about. I hope you understand that. So preposition of direction. Meanwhile, here, this harmonizes. It links or it joins together, okay? So he complied with. He actually did it. We are working together. And then the correct answer there is A. I hope you understand that with that illustration. Okay, let's take a look at this as we progress. It's been a long one, but it's quite a helpful one. Okay, so the meeting has been postponed. Has been postponed dash next week. Next week. To before. The meeting has been postponed dash next week. Okay? Is it for? The meeting has been postponed for next week. To hold for next week. Or is it to? The meeting has been postponed to next week. So the correct answer here is to. This is an appropriate preposition. Okay, what you call fill in the gap question in UTME. So it is the meeting has been postponed to next week, not for next week. But however, you can say something like the meeting has been slated for. That means when it will hold. Please spot the difference, okay? One is the meeting has been slated for next week, which means it will hold next week, okay? Meanwhile, this other one says the time the meeting has been postponed to is next week. Two different things, two different expressions. So the first one, the meeting has been postponed to next week on the one hand. On the other hand, you can say the meeting has been slated for, not slated to. These are appropriate prepositions. It means how those prepositions correctly are used in the English language. Okay, so let's look at more. Let's look at more examples as we begin to round off the class. Okay. They succeeded dash persuading him. Dash persuading him. They succeeded dash persuading him. Is it in persuading him or at so let's begin with B. They succeeded at persuading him. Is that the correct answer? Let me know A or B. You can just put 22, A or B. Let's know what you think the right answer is. Okay. So without further ado, I'll give you the correct answer. It says they succeeded in. It says actually in persuading him. So you succeed, in doing something. Okay, it might be in maybe playing what now? Maybe soccer or something. So they succeeded in persuading him, not at persuading him. So that is the appropriate preposition for that particular question. Let's take more questions. Let's take more questions. Let's see. Let's take more. Okay, let's look at this one. Okay, he apologized. He apologized. Okay. So this question or this sentence reads, he apologized dash being late. He apologized dash being late. A, for, B, about. So he apologized about being late. I'm inserting the options. So I'm starting from the Second option here. He apologized about being late. Does that sound? No, it actually doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound right. Next, we have he apologized for. The answer is for. He apologized for being late. You might want to note that if you've ever had any confusion with that particular question. Okay, let's look at this one. The manager objected the proposal. Options A, against, and then B, to. The manager objected dash the proposal, and we have two options here. We have against and to. So let's start with against. The manager objected against the proposal. Yeah, that sounds like the answer. Okay, because when you say against, it means, I mean, you're against the proposal. You don't like the proposal. Against, like you're against something. Is that the answer? No, that is not the appropriate. That's not the answer. It's not the appropriate preposition, even though it seems like it might be. Because if you say someone objected, right, it means they are against. But we cannot say objected against. It is inappropriate. It's an inappropriate expression. Okay. So what we rightly say is to. The manager objected to the proposal. Now, for some of you who might have an idea about, court cases and all of that, you hear, the lawyers say, objection, my lord. What's the objection about? It is an objection to the motion raised. Okay, maybe, what the prosecuting lawyer might be saying, the defendant lawyer will say objection to, this to whatever. So it is objection to or objected to. That is the appropriate preposition that is used in English. Now, by the way, when we talk about appropriate prepositions, let me also remind you, or maybe teach you if you didn't know previously, that we have idioms in English. And idioms, they are appropriate in the sense it would be inappropriate to change any part of them. The way they are is the way they should remain. That's the idea behind appropriate prepositions. For instance, when you say he was born with a silver spoon. Silver spoon. And silver spoon here means someone who was born wealthy or born in riches, into a rich family, okay? So in English, you cannot change this to say a bronze spoon or a gold spoon. And then you want this gold spoon to mean the same thing as silver spoon. So what it means is it will always be silver spoon. I or any other person cannot change this to gold spoon to mean riches. That's what we mean by appropriate prepositions. Do you get the picture? These are the things that have to go together in English. That's the simple explanation for that. Okay, I hope you've gotten that. So let's move on from here. Okay, let's look at this one. Was and B were. If I dash you, I would apologize. And here I have the options. A was, B were. I have taught something similar like this before. But if you're new, it's okay. That's why you're also joining the class. So yeah, let's look at this together. Now, when you say if, it shows that you're in the realm of wishes, okay? Because the way if is used here is if I dash you, I am not you. I wish that I wait that that I am you, okay? So if I dash you, that is if I'm you. That's what we're saying. So we are in the realm of wishes. You're not that person yet, okay? I would apologize. Now, what we do here is we use what in English is called the subjunctive mood. The subjunctive mood, okay? The subjunctive mood is used for prayers, for wishes, to indicate prayers and wishes in the English language. For instance, when you say, God bless you, you actually mean, may God bless you. In case you do not know, that's the full grammatical construction. May God bless you. You are already using the subjunctive mood, okay? All right then, so now the subjunctive mood covers, aspects like prayers, covers aspects like wishes, of which the sentence or this question type falls under. Now, pay close attention. So because we are using the subjunctive mood here, and this is a wish, we cannot say, if I was you. If I was you, okay? Because ordinarily, I here is the first person singular pronoun, okay? It's the subject, okay? This is a subjective case, I. The objective case is me. I'm sure you know basic grammar. I'm sure you know all of that, fine. So we are supposed to say, I was. Isn't that so? So that's what gets students, confused. Ordinarily, we cannot say, I were. What we say is, I was, let me complete it, cooking yesterday. Are you getting it? We cannot say, I were cooking yesterday. Right? This is basic English grammar. So this would be wrong. We cannot say, I were cooking. Listen. Now we can say, I was, I am. Okay? I was, I am. But here, because wishes fall under the subjunctive mood, you are not that person. You only wished, okay? So what we'll do is to use were. So if I were you, I would apologize. And now what covers this? If I were. What covers this, to be correct English, is simply the subjunctive mood. If the subjunctive mood was not covering this, then this would be seen as wrong English. What we call in English grammaticality and acceptability, which simply means something that is ungrammatical or unacceptable in English. But that is not the case here. If I were you is both grammatical and acceptable. Why? Simply because it is covered by the subjunctive mood in English, okay? So here, this particular expression is not subject to the rules of concord that would have said, I was cooking, I was playing, I was dancing, was. It is no longer subject to the rule of concord because the subjunctive mood that covers wishes and prayers has already covered this. So yes, it is correct in English to then say, if I were you, expressing a wish to be that person, I would apologize. I hope you understand that and you understand the subjunctive mood. Okay. So let's take a few more questions as we wrap up. As we wrap up here. Okay, let's look at a few word stress questions. Although I'll do another teaching video for word stress as well as the recommended JAMB novel, so that we can do, especially on stress, so that we can dwell on it, extensively. I will do that. But let's take a few word stress questions as we round off today. Note my expression I said as we round off. As we round off the class today, not round up. Round up is wrong. Round up is when you round up, a herd of cows or maybe armed robbers. So the police rounds them up. That's different from round. A round off means we are about, finishing or closing for today. Okay, so spot the difference, and you use the correct, English expression. So we'll be looking at word stress. So let's look at, we have can. This is a typical UTME question. So we have A, we have B. Oh, sorry. Quick one. In English, we have the words congratulation and congratulations. Okay, more often than not, we use congratulations more often than not. So if something good has happened to someone, you tell that person, congratulations. Oh, I heard about this. Congratulations to you and all of that. However, when you say something like, I am writing a letter of congratulation, that's where you can use the one without the S. Okay, so let's focus on word stress. This is a typical JAMB question that you see for word stress. You just see a word like this, split up into different stress syllables for the 4 options. So we have all of this here. We have the stress on the first syllable, as you can see, stress on second syllable, stress on the 4th syllable, and then we have the stress on the 5th syllable. So the very first thing to do is to use Lucy's 7-second SMART strategy for word stress questions. So what do you do first? First, determine the number of syllables in the word. Let's do that real quick. Now, a syllable is a puff of breath that you can is the units that you can produce or pronounce in a puff of breath. Okay, so when you go congratulation, how many syllables do we have there? We have 5. Okay, we have, this is it. Okay, so we have congratulation. So that is 5 syllables that we have. So we have determined the number of syllables. Now, why is this very important? It's because the number of syllables can help you to immediately get the correct answer. Now, look at this, guys. When you see words that end with this suffix, ION, this is a suffix. A suffix is put at the end of a word to change its meaning and then to form another word. Okay. So when you see words that end with ION, the rule says stress the penultimate syllable. What is the penultimate syllable? The penultimate syllable is the syllable that is before the last syllable, or put simply, the second syllable from the end. That's why you needed to count and know the number of syllables in in the word. So we've determined we have 5, okay? Now, the rule says when the word ends with the suffix ion, what should you simply do? You stress the penultimate syllable. So I will get my answer very, very simple and very fast at the snap of my fingers. Why? Because JAMB, there is no time in JAMB. Use of English, you have 60 questions for 40 minutes. Look at that. So I'll easily get the answer to be C. I didn't do any guesswork, no magic. I don't have any dictionary. I just applied the rules. I counted how many syllables, Lucy 7-second smart strategy for words. I counted how many syllables first. I got that. Then I looked at the rule. ION. Okay? So stress what? The penultimate syllable. Very simple. Very simple. So the correct answer here is C, where the stress falls on the penultimate syllable. That's just it. Please share this video, share the link, guys, to anyone you know that, might actually need this particular question. Okay, let's take a look at this one. It's also a typical JAMB question. Look at it real quick. As we round off, we are almost done. Remember, part 1 of this, class had 20 questions. For this one, we are going to 30. We'll be done very soon. Now look at this question. It's a UTME 2000 question. Typical JAMB question. It has honor. And then it has these options in it. We have A, human. We have B, hyena. We have C, humane. And lastly, we have D, hotel. Now, I need you to pay attention real quick as I explain this, okay? So here, honor. Mind you, the H is a silent H. I love to teach all aspects of English. I don't know. So the H here is a silent H. Okay, so we say honor, not honor. Take note of that. So honor here is a noun. Now, there is a rule in English. When you have 2-syllable nouns, you stress the first syllable. 2-syllable nouns, stress the first syllable. Stress the first syllable. Okay? Then when you have 2-syllable verbs, you stress the second syllable. Please take note of this because it just might come in handy. Okay? All right, then. So here we have honor. Human. What part of speech is human? This is a noun. Hyena. Hyena is a 3-syllable noun. Look at it. Hyena. Now, this is its phonetic transcription. Hyena, na, schwa sound, hyena. So we have hyena, 1, 2, 3. Please take note of this. There's a reason for it. Take note of this. Next we have humane. Humane is a 2-syllable adjective. All right, and then we have hotel. Fine. Hotel is a 2-syllable noun. 2-syllable noun. Where is it? This is a 2-syllable noun. Now, but there's a little bit of issue with hotel. That's why I said I'll explain this to you. Hotel has its origin from French. If you're my students and you've been in my class, you will know that I always talk about the etymology of the English language. Now, the etymology of the English language makes us realize that most of the words in English are not necessarily native to the English language, okay? Most of the words we have in English were taken from French, from Scandinavian, even African languages, like Swahili, for instance. Tattoo and taboo were taken from African languages. You might not know that, but you know that now. The word mosquito was taken from Portuguese. Okay, so the word hotel has its etymology in French, and as such, it maintains the same stress pattern that it's, had in French, okay? So here, it does not fall under this English rule of two-syllable noun stress the first syllable. Rather, the French stress its second syllable. So which means hotel will not be our answer. Okay? All right, so we look at hyena, a three-syllable noun. Somehow it has gotten disqualified. But again, something will disqualify it again. We see here that in hyena, okay, we have the long E sound on the second syllable, and that is what receives the stress in this particular word because this, the stressed vowel sound, E, hyena, hyena. So the stress for hyena is here, not on the fourth syllable. So we've been able to eliminate B and D. Humane. Yes, it's a two-syllable adjective. However, its own stress is on main, the second syllable. So the only one that is the answer here is the two-syllable noun human, which follows this rule in English. And that's how we get the answer. The answer is human. So honor and human have the same stress pattern on the first syllable H. I hope you understand that. I hope you understand that. Okay, let's take another one. Let's make it a bit simple because I know that word stress is actually a topic many students struggle with. So this one, you should be able to get this particular question. Let's give it a try, guys. Let's give it a try. Okay, so we have, okay, let's see. Okay. Communication. I want to see who gets this first in the comments. Okay, A, B. You can type out the answer. This should be easy peasy to do. We just did something similar. So yeah, what is the right answer? What is the right answer, guys? Very simple one. The right answer here is D. This is the right answer. Why? Because we said when we have words that end with the suffix ion, we should stress the penultimate syllable. So all we need to rack our brains with or our head with is to just look for the penultimate syllable. And what is the penultimate syllable? The second syllable from the end. So we have communication, 5. So we have, let's count from the end. So let's count 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 1, 2. This is the penultimate syllable. Very simple. Look at that. That's very simple, guys. That's really quite simple to do. Really quite simple to do. I mean, English is so exciting. It is so exciting. Let's look at this question. Let's answer it together. We're going to look for the one that, where it's stressed on the first syllable pattern. The stress on the first syllable. So we have resist. This is A, resist. We're looking for the stress on the first syllable for this question, okay? Next, we have intact. Next, we have confirm. Salon. Stress on the first syllable. Now, I will show you a very easy peasy way to get this. Guys, English is so simple. You need to be in Lucy's class. You will understand English, guys. See, no magic, no guesswork. The science behind the English. Come with me. Just come and see this. Now, this is how to get the answer real quick, real fast. Resist. What part of speech is resist? Except you don't know your parts of speech. That's where you struggle. If you do, you hardly struggle. What part of speech is resist? Verb. What part of speech is intact? You're still thinking. I'll let you think. What part of speech is confirmed? Verb. What part of speech is salon? Noun. Intact is an adjective. Is anyone with me? Now, easy peasy way. What do I do? The English stress rule said when you have a 2-syllable verb, stress the second syllable, which means I stress this one, I stress resist, and I stress confirm. Now, what are we looking for? We are looking for the word that has the stress on the first syllable. Automatically, I just eliminate A and C. No stress. So I'm left with B and D. B and D. Good. So I have adjective and noun. What does the stress rule say? Says when you have a 2-syllable noun, stress the first syllable. I've done that. Okay, what's the rule for a 2-syllable adjective? Intact is 2-syllable, 1, 2. Okay, what's the rule? Now, the rule in English says when you have a 2-syllable adjective, you stress the first syllable. You stress the first syllable. So does it mean there is an issue with this question? Does it mean JAMB made a mistake? These are real JAMB questions. This is actually a 2001 question. So does it mean JAMB doesn't know what they did by doing this? No, JAMB is actually correct. Okay, now this is what happened. Yes, the rule says stress for 2-syllable adjectives, stress the first adjective, but this is an exception to the rule. We have exception to the rule. Exception to the rule. What do we mean by it's an exception to the rule? Now, because we have the prefix in, this prefix in does not receive the stress. Automatically, the stress that should have been on the first syllable does what? It jumps over to the second syllable. Intact is not our answer. The correct answer is salon, which is a 2-syllable noun that receives the stress on the first syllable, answering the instruction for us to get the word that has its stress on the first syllable. No guesswork, no magic. We use the science behind the English to arrive at the correct answer. I hope you're learning. Please subscribe to this channel if you haven't done so yet. Share the link to every friend, every JAMBite around you, every student and candidate whom you know can benefit from the likely questions for JAMB UTME use of English. And that brings us to the final question in this particular lesson today. The final question in this particular lesson. Okay. Okay. Let's look at this word. Economics. Okay, so we have this. Now first, remember Lucy's 7-second SMART strategy. First, we have to syllabify the words. That means to break into syllables. We have about 4 syllables here. Economics. So we have 1, 2, 3, and 4. That's the first thing. Next, we learn that for words that end with ic or ic, we also stress the penultimate syllable. This makes it really quite simple for us to get the answer. It means the answer is C, economics. Okay, because we stressed, let me just write it here in case anyone is confused, the penultimate syllable, penultimate. And penultimate is the second syllable from the end. You have 1, 2, 3, and 4. Economics is the answer there. Wow, it has been quite, a long class, but I know that it has been a beneficial class where you must have learned quite, a lot of nuggets, okay, for UTME use of English. We just finished looking at 50 most likely JAMB UTME questions spanning lexes and structure and oral forms in JAMB. Okay, so we have learned, quite a lot. And I want to assure you that the majority of the questions that we have, treated in this lesson and the previous lesson, that's the part 1, will likely pop up in JAMB. You're looking at indefinite pronouns like everyone. You're looking at each of a concord type question. You're looking at the number of, the pair of type question. And of course, you have, word stress questions too in this class. I also like to reiterate that I have more videos, okay, that have spanned the JAMB recommended a novel, as well as I'll also be working on more videos for word stress and even more likely questions on the JAMB recommended novel, The Lucky Headmaster by Kabi Gaba. I want to encourage you to click on the subscribe button so that you can receive notifications for when I'll be going live, as well as when more videos are dropped on my channel. Okay, that will be it for today. It has been my utmost pleasure to have piloted you in this time of in this lesson today. So until we see again in the next class, I want to say my goodbyes. See you next time. Bye for now.